So if you shop at a store like Big Lots, Macy's, Rite Aid, Walgreens, well, I have a warning for you because prices are about to surge. And it's not because of these specific stores, it's because of their competitors. I want to break down what's going on because right now we are hearing reports that thousands and thousands of these stores are going to close over the next handful of months. So I'm going to break down what is happening, why we are so concerned right now, and what this means moving forward. So I'll break all this down in just a moment, but all I ask is one thing. Takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So yes, it is true. Stores like Big Lots are going to close hundreds of stores over the next couple of months. We are going to see this because Big Lots is struggling. Big Lots has more debt than they can contend with. Their sales are dropping. The inventory that they used to get, they're not getting anymore. Walmart is getting the best deals. Target is getting the best deals. People are flocking to Amazon to buy discounted products. That is hurting. That's one of the reasons why Big Lots is going to close about 300 locations over the next several months. Now, they're not the only ones. Look at this. Rite Aid is closing stores. This article right here from Fast Company says full list and map of doomed locations announced in August 2024. Just so you know, they are planning about 44 store closures, and those are going to happen just in October and November. Okay? We know that more store closures are going to happen. We are going to see this. People are hurting. But here's the reason why. Many people say that inflation is hurting the American people. It's digging into our wallets and our bank accounts. It is. One of the reasons why is because some companies just continue to raise prices. For no reason, they just raise prices. For instance, I was at a Walgreens just recently. This Walgreens that I was at, it was about a block away, about maybe less than a block away. Okay, probably 200 to 300 feet away from a Rite Aid. The Rite Aid was closed down. Okay, it closed down within the last few weeks. So guess what was happening at Walgreens? Their prices were going up. And I realized this because there was somebody in the store that was changing all the prices. Okay, they went through and they changed all the prices when I was standing there. And I asked them, like, why is everything going up? Did they just have a big sale? I thought, man, I missed it. And they said, no, Rite Aid just closed. That was their response. That Rite Aid just closed, so now Walgreens was raising prices. Yeah, they're going to gouge the American consumer. But look at this. It's not just those stores either. Conn's Home Plus, they're closing all their stores. I mentioned that a couple weeks ago. Here's another big one that I know has a lot of people, really upset. But look at this. Hooters is closing all their underperforming restaurants, including one in the Houston area. It says at least 4 of the 16 closures in Texas appear to be in the Houston area. Now, Hooters has some more competition. They have, Twin Peaks now. There's a few others out there. And so, again, they have competition. Just like Rite Aid and Big Lots, right, for discount retailers. There's more competition, which means it's going to be more pain. But look at this. This is another big one. I talked about this one before. Family Dollar and Dollar Tree are going to close over 1,000 stores. By the end of 2025, they're going to close 1,000 retail locations. 1,000. So if there are, let's just say 10 employees per location, which is pretty small, but let's say there's 10. We can close 1,000 locations. That means 10,000 people are going to be out of a job within the next year. But this is what I think is interesting. Look at this one. This is an article from a few days ago. This says apartments, hockey rinks, and Amazon warehouses. Macy's closures will set off a wave of change at shopping malls. Now I want to get to some of the key points here. It says Macy's will set off a wave of change at malls as it closes about 150 namesake stores across the country by early 2027. So we're about 2.5 years away. but again, it's coming up. Let's keep reading this. It says, the department store operator has long been a mall anchor with stores that range between 200,000 and 225,000 square feet. It says mall owners could convert the former Macy's boxes into smaller retail spaces or make more significant changes, such as adding apartments or demolishing the mall for a completely new development. Now, I thought this was interesting when I read this a couple days ago. And when I read this, I decided to send one of my friends a message. He has a kind of kiosk out in front of a Macy's. And this is what I asked him. I wrote him and I said, if Macy's does leave the mall, how much will that impact your business? So my friend, he has a smaller kiosk. He sells fragrances, okay, perfumes, colognes, whatever, different scents. And I believe he probably sells it for like 75%, 70 to 85% of what Macy's is asking for their stuff. Well, this is his response. He says, and I quote, Macy's is the store that brings people into the mall. And then I get the fallout from when people realize how much cologne and perfume really costs at Macy's. I charge a little bit less, yes, than what Macy's does, but I also give free gifts, and that seems to help drive sales. Now, here's what I think is interesting. When I go into a mall, especially a new mall, when I go into a new mall, it doesn't matter if it's here in the Washington State area, in a different state, maybe Oregon, California, wherever, I'm going to that specific mall for usually one store. So my kids do a lot of sports, so a lot of times we go to Dick's Sporting Goods. Okay, we go into Dick's Sporting Goods, and so recently I was over in Puyallup, went into the Dick's Sporting Goods. So we went into Dick's Sporting Goods, and from there we went into I think it was like a Golden Corral or some buffet style restaurant. Went there. We had dinner, and then we walked around the mall, went to many other stores, right? Spent money. The only reason why we were even at that mall was because of that one store, okay? An anchor store, Dick's Sporting Goods. That's the same thing with Macy's. And if Macy's is planning on closing 150 stores in the next 2.5 years, that's going to put malls in jeopardy. Right now, I just showed you Big Lots, and that's a major retailer. That's a massive, massive store. Okay, Big Lots. They're, 150,000 square feet? Something like that. It's a massive store. Okay? So if Big Lots goes under, who's going to fill that location? And again, I think this is interesting because it says right here in this article from CNBC, right? Apartments, hockey rinks, and Amazon warehouses. That's what they're predicting is going to go into these Macy's stores. A hockey rink? I don't think hockey's that big. Amazon warehouses? Do you think Amazon employees want to park at the mall? No. Unless that mall completely goes under, then Amazon may buy the property. But they're not going to get top dollar for it. And apartment buildings? Maybe. We could potentially see an apartment building attached to a mall. But again, this is going to be a very specific crowd depending on the stores at the mall. I know I personally would never buy an apartment building attached to a mall. Because what happens if the stores that I love go away? What happens if they just turn that mall into something completely different? And I don't like it. Well, I have an apartment there. What if I bought it? I'm not renting it, I buy it. Yeah. It's going to turn into a very interesting situation. But again, I bring this to your attention because people are getting laid off. There are stores that are sitting vacant, right? The lease is no one's paying it. This is turning into a massive crisis. But again, what happens when all these people don't have a job? What happens? Do they continue to pay for all those luxury meals? Do they continue to pay for their car, their auto insurance, pay for Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Plus? Right? Do we continue to buy stuff off of Amazon? Do we continue to buy stuff from retail stores? Maybe not. I talked to a very good friend of mine, and he told me this. He said that he himself and his family have decided to boycott all stores. They are trying to grow their own fruits and vegetables. They will live off their land. They're not going to buy any new clothes. School supplies, if they need something, yes, they'll buy it, but outside of that, they don't plan on going to a store. As far as grocery stores, they bought I think a full cow or something like that just recently, and that's going to get them through probably this entire year. But here's what I thought's interesting. He's not the first one to say that he was going to boycott all stores. Just think about it. What happens if every single person out there decides to boycott the grocery stores and the retail stores? Where do you work? Where do your friends, your family members work? Where does your neighbor work? Their friends, their family members. My guess is somebody will be impacted because of these decisions. So, we'll see what happens, but as of today, that is what we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing. I'll see you guys on the next one.